Everyone that tells you that improving in chess is a long process and that it takes time and that it is difficult is just straightforward a liar. They're lying to you. Let me show you exactly what you're supposed to do in order to level up from beginner all the way into intermediate. And we're gonna start directly by preventing very common blunders that happen to you as beginners. So let me show you how we got into this position. It is move 3 and black already blundered. Let me show you exactly what not to do. E4, right? Black did E6, D4, and black decides to immediately bring the queen out. Now, white sees this, white plays well in this game. And what he decides to do is he decides to punish a move like this by E5, immediately attacking the queen and forcing her to move back. Black refuses to learn from his mistakes and decides to do the move queen to F5, and then white again will punish this very quickly and win for himself a full queen. In fact, black decides to take this bishop like this, and white simply wins on move 5. And for anyone that believes like, okay, must be a one time, this must be by lower rated players, this game was played by a 1000, which is white, and black, which is 800. So it is not just for lower levels. If you're 800 to 1000, this also applies to you. Let me show you other examples where this still applies. So c3, knight to c3, e6, okay? Knight f3 happens, and after knight f3, knight c6, and white decides to do the move h4, moves a pawn in the rear, which is obviously the mistake. Beforehand, he had like a minor advantage, a 0.2 advantage. He lost it by h4. Black now has an option to punish this, doing the move knight to d4, alright? It is quite difficult for beginners to see moves like this, so this doesn't happen. Now we're moving on to another very common mistake that beginners have, which is just straight up losing pawns. White decides to do the move e5, okay, obviously a mistake because this is just a free pawn that you can take. But then he decides also to do the move that we've just seen is a mistake in here. He decides to do the move queen to a4, okay, queen to a4. Now, what does queen to a4 allow? It allows bishop to d7, and now this is a threat. Now white decides to do the move d3, but it's just too late because now the knight hops in, and this is now an attack, full-on attack. Then white does another mistake, which is moving the knight to b5, pinning his own knight, and this is going to be very quickly punished. So what do we have? We have two cases where one side just completely neglects the opening principles. Opening principles are the basics of chess, the simple rules of what to do versus what not to do in chess. And I'll give you a very simple way to master and learn this very quickly. How do we learn all of this very quickly? We ask a few basic questions. That are, by move 10, I moved my pawns out into the center. I grasped good control over it, full control or at least a good one. 2, I moved all of my pieces, all of them out, at least somewhere. I must have moved them out. This is the rule. And the third one is that by move 10, I have castled. 3 rules. They help us look only on what is important in the opening, the fundamentals, and unfocused on all the rest. So basically, when black made the move queen to f6 in here, how do we know that the correct move is e5? Again, you use this principle. Have good or complete control over the center. This is how you do it. So, what can you take from this video? How can you implement this rule further on? And also what to avoid. So first of all, avoid all the moves that look like this. Like a6 in that particular example is good, but avoid moves, for example, like h4 in here. These side moves and moving the knights towards the rear or even towards h3 are what you want to avoid in chess because they oppose exactly what we've talked about. And every time that you will try to make these moves, you will see the bar goes in favor of your opponent. We don't want this, so the way to just not to do this is avoid it completely. And the second one is do not bring your queen out at least until you try to castle, okay? Because then it will become targets, for example, in here and in the previous one. It's why I brought these particular examples, because this is very common in chess and it ruins a lot of games for beginners. So playing this particular way and also preventing yourself from doing the bad moves like the don'ts that we've just covered in depth, like that's all you need to know really. It will help you to play better, much better in the opening in chess. What I will leave you with is try to also learn a specific opening. So in chess there is also what is called an opening, which is a specific already set list of moves that you can do and it kind of solves you from doing bad moves in the opening because you're prepared for everything already. So for example, knight here and bishop here. This, for example, is an opening, right? This set of moves that we've just done is an opening in and of itself. And then you can learn it much deeper and in more depth in other videos and in other tutorials. What openings should you learn? Because there's thousands of them. For white, let's say learn, if you're just starting out, go for either the Italian or the Spanish. They are differentiated by one move, which is the bishop here or here. Like, that's it. It's very simple. So that's it for today's video. And for black also, you can try another opening which is called the Caro-Kann if you're trying also for black. That's it for today's video. I will see you very soon. Comment all your questions below. I'll answer all of you. I will see you soon. Bye bye.